All right, let's take a look at conclusions. Yes, you can use some strategies from the introduction, those strategies. Part of it could be a good rhetorical question. You could end the whole conclusion with a good rhetorical question that makes them want to go and do something, right? That movement, that persuade, to move them and inspire them to do something. But I also want you to know a couple of things about conclusions. Number one, yes, good quiz question. Yes, it will be on your midterm. Number one, no new information. Okay, we're not doing new information. You've already talked about that. Number two, you summarize. And I'm going to tell you how I expect you to summarize. Your parts in your thesis, and right now if you're not real aware of how to do parts and thesis, just write it down and I'll explain it in a minute. Your parts in your thesis need to be summarized with a sentence each, okay? So, this is the way I suggest you do a conclusion. Your first sentence just introduces it again. You just remind me about that topic. Still talking about abortion, okay? So you just somehow remind the reader what the topic is. Then you do a sentence for each of your parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, however many parts you have inside your paper. You're just summarizing it. You're just reminding them, talked about this first, then I talked about this second, then I talked about this third. And then your last sentence, you end strong. Okay, so for conclusion, no new information, and you summarize, and you do so with a good, effective approach. And then your last thing is, I want you to end strong, okay? There should be a rhetorical nature to that very ending, and I really want to emphasize that part. So make sure you give a good, clear conclusion. Now I'm going to say two quick things to you, and if you can get this, it will really help you with conclusions. Number one is it's a small paper, okay? Your introduction, your body, your conclusion. It's like a small paper. I should be able to read your conclusion and know what your paper is about if you've done a really good concluding paragraph. And the second is, this is very motivational, okay? So it's not just, oh, talked about this, second I talked about that, third I talked about that. No, you want to make sure it flows and it moves me to the point that when I read this last sentence, I got it. I understand what you're saying. So it has that good rhetorical nature that moves me. Okay? All right, those are your conclusions.